Good morning, good moaning, good moaning, good moaning to you all. How are you all? Good moaning on podcast, good moaning here on YouTube, and good moaning if you haven't watched us live and you're watching the upload. Good evening, maybe to you.
What are these three colours?
Oh, you've got Palestinian colours. Oh, I should put my keffiyeh on.
Morning, everyone. Careful. Careful.
I could be arrested.
Is it terrible? She wore a keffiyeh yesterday, and I was like, God, you know, I tell you what, I got a small taste of Islamophobia because I thought, oh,
You
God,
didn't want me to go out in it.
She could get just hassled or called a terrorist.
He said to me, what are you going to do if somebody says something to you? I said, I'll say something back. Right, hello, welcome to everybody. Hope you're well. How are we all feeling today? How are you feeling?
That's not feeling anything.
I know.
I've got no nerves in my finger.
He's now got a severed nerve with his man wound, guys. It's progressed.
Not a severed nerve, but look, this is really disconcerting. So I can really press on there and I feel nothing. It's so funny. It makes me want to push you away.
He left here, and 5 minutes later he rang me this morning and went, I can't feel the end of my finger, honest to God. When I put down the phone, I was howling with laughter, Mark.
I knew you. What do you mean? Every single aspect. If my finger fell on the floor, you'd be howling with laughter. Hilary Daly, very fed up, hate February. Oh, sweetie.
Oh, no, don't hate February, because we've got to rejoice that we're out of January. February's short.
It's not. It's the longest February in 4 years.
Oh, is it?
Of all the years to say February's short, this isn't the year.
Well, I do not understand how dates change. I will never, as long as I live,
the end of the
know
day
what
happens.
people mean when they say Easter is early this year.
Because it's about the moon being over the yard arm after a certain period of time when the milk's come out. It's only when the milk's brought in after a certain era of time, going backwards towards the actual medieval period.
Is that true?
I just made a whole word salad. That was a word salad of random shit.
It was a bloody good one. Did you make that up as you went along?
I didn't make it up. I literally turned off my ordering.
So did you make that up as you went
All
along?
of it.
Well, it's very good.
I knew that milk would speak to the idea of...
No, as soon as you said milk, that's where you failed.
That was really early on.
But the yardstick and then the thingy and yardstick impressed
Medieval.
me. Medieval. Because I thought, how long have we had a calendar?
No big deal, says Good Ship Lollipop. Just look at a calendar. That's
No,
how days pass.
I don't mean that. I mean, why does it change? Christmas Day doesn't change. Your birthday doesn't change.
The date of certain things doesn't change. So, like Mothering Sunday is always, what is it, the third Sunday in March?
Never
Is
know.
it the third or the second Sunday in March? It's the fourth full moon. It's the first full moon after Lent, when...
Oh, you're making it up. You're just saying
oil
Lent now. You're just saying Lent.
mixed
No.
with Nutella.
No, you're lying. Anyway, I will never understand it.
Ellen,
It's
yeah,
weird.
Easter changes too. Why?
I don't know.
Look, struggling at the moment, guys. Gemma Perry sending... Oh, look, there's a few people here really struggling with February.
Yeah.
Hilary Daly, Gemma. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, sweetheart.
I mean, I'm really struggling at the moment as well. I have to say, I'm very low. I make myself do everything that I have to do. It's a case of pushing through and doing it anyway. But everything seems to me like climbing a bloody mountain. Everything.
Right.
Everything. So it's just that low feeling, isn't it? We just got to push. You just got to keep pushing through, but it's hard.
It is hard. No, it's waves. You know, you get hit by waves of kind of real sort of on top of it. You can ride that wave, and then at other times you're just kind of absolutely floored by it. But
And it's funny because yesterday we went for a walk and the sky was so blue, and I said to Mark, God, how much as humans we need to see that blue sky, because it just lifted me just so much. Mind you, then I felt collapsed as soon as I got back in the car, but it's greyness. It leaves you feeling grey, it does.
I want to say right now that I'd quite like Julie Franks to hang out with me today.
Go on, Julie.
Well, because Julie's just said a sentence here, which I kind of think, if I'd heard that from Nads, it would be really nice. Just calming.
All right, Jules, what are you up
to? Julie, no, honestly. She says, Mark, I broke my wrist in 3 places and had nerve damage, but it does come back. Soothing, sharing, life affirming.
Maybe she just wanted you to shut up going on
What?
about your
Well,
finger.
no, but what Julie Franks didn't do was this.
Don't, Mark. Mark.
You know, thanks, Julie, you didn't do that. That's all I'm asking for.
I try not to laugh next time.
You and Dina, we everywhere.
I don't.
You're like
I do
you're like
occasionally.
pugs.
Tina's the worst.
You're like pugs.
I'm an occasional weir. I cross my legs quicker than she does. Right, let's get on.
April Hill, been feeling really anxious the last 3 weeks. Had 3 panic attacks, don't know why. Oh, look, I'm really picking up on this community. Sweeties.
Oh, everybody's feeling...
Lee, you've got an important scan tomorrow. Wishing you luck,
Good
matey
luck.
flip. Remember what I said? The Country Pumpkin, I had a huge wake-up call with my weight last night. Decided I'm going to mope about it today, then do something about it tomorrow.
Who's that?
Country Pumpkin.
Oh, a wake-up call. Oh, that is so hard, isn't
That's
it?
sweet.
Yeah, it really is. We're doing actually a body image live on Wednesday, I think, aren't we? Because we're doing it together. So we will put a link under here. If any men would like to ask or send in their body image story, and then we will.
Yeah, when are we
read
doing
it
that?
Wednesday, I believe.
Wednesday. Oh, and later today, I am God Almighty. What could happen tonight at 6 p.m. on Instagram?
Oh my God.
Me and Kaz.
You know my friend Kaz, dance your tits off. He's doing a live with her.
Could go a little bit batshit crazy. Could go any which way, any
Because she's given up drinking, and it's going to be about giving up drinking.
Yeah, so it could be a large one. Anyway.
You should have done it on your Thirsty Thursday.
But I'm going to be doing Thirsty Thursday this week. That's the problem. Okay, what are we talking about today? Israel ignores global anger, but global anger comes a little bit too late. This is as we sit on the verge of a possible invasion of Rafah. Keir Starmer has a bit of a nightmare in Rochdale with his candidate who called into question October the 7th. I pulled this story only just briefly about Harry and Meghan have relaunched and rebranded their website. We're going to be talking about women who swear and whether it's worse when women swear. And Olivia Colman seems to think so. She's in a new film called Wicked Little Letters. And I just pulled this story a few days ago because I just want to ask a few questions about the woman who says she slept with 300 people last year and who wants to beat that number this year.
I've read that article now, and I have an opinion.
You do have an opinion?
Yes.
Okay.
Lots of people there saying they'll look forward to that with Kaz. Lots of people love Kaz.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun, for sure.
So that's 6 o'clock live with Mark and Dance Your Tits Off.
AZ says, I feel like I'm living in a dystopia.
Yes,
Yeah.
so do we all.
Now, before we get going on any of these topics, I just want to say about the Israel-Gaza crisis. I think for everyone who's been following the story, who has a strong emotion about this story, who has felt that the disproportionate shift and slide from a moment of self-defense into the destruction of a country, the erosion of a culture, the displacement of a nation, and the plausible signs of a genocide. This is the moment people mustn't be hoodwinked, gaslit, and lured into thinking this. When old Cameron-y boots and Biden-y boots and all that lot and Rishi, all this, when they all start to say, you know what, we're a bit concerned about Rafah, suddenly a bit concerned. Remember that right at the end of this playbook that Netanyahu is engaging in, right at the end, when Netanyahu's got nowhere else to go, I mean, this is, as much as this hopefully will reach the end of atrocities for the Palestinians in Gaza, this is also the end of this conflict spells a massive, massive potential problem for Netanyahu, which could speak to why he wants to prolong it, and he doesn't want a ceasefire, and he doesn't want a 6-week pause. But as the West starts to shift its sort of mood music and its wordage, and it starts to go, do not be gaslit by them all seeking to be on the almost just get a toe over the right side of history so they can hedge their bets. Let's not forget, in about 7 days, the ICJ will be handed Netanyahu's homework.
Because they sent him away. The International Court of Justice sent
him
them away
away
for a month to prove that there wasn't a plausible genocide.
Don't think for a minute that every other country that has supported Netanyahu and the Israeli government's push in Gaza hasn't looked at that ICJ thing and not wanted it covered, because what they're knowing is if it goes against them again, or it pushes against them again, they could all be in some way implicated, which is why companies like the arms manufacturer in Holland has been told by a court not to send parts to Israel because they could be seen to be being used in a genocidal campaign. So what you're seeing here is a ratcheting down of the language, a ratcheting up of the humanitarian concern.
But not really. But
it's still zero material change.
But it is still so wafer thin. I mean,
It's wafer thin.
I don't know if any of you saw the post that I put up yesterday on my Instagram by Owen Jones, and he had that outrage that I did, and he's gone over the top. Netanyahu's gone over the top. It is the most disrespectful, disgusting way to describe what has happened to the people out there.
Thanks,
over
Faith. Sorry,
the
just
top.
to say thanks. It's not. There's no joy in saying "I told you so." But Faith, Mark, you said this would happen ages ago. James, I remember you saying that this would happen. With
David Cameron.
I
yesterday,
said it.
They're scrambling. They're scrambling to take a backwards roll. You know, Rishi Sunak trying to look very cross yesterday and say that he's told, in uncertain terms to Netanyahu. Do you really think that we're just now going to just accept that? As like, do you think they will? Do you think people will? Do you think people will say, at the end, will people say, oh, they were all on the right side, even though they've all played a massive part in it?
Not if you and we don't let them. And this is the point. This is the playbook. This is the Western media's playbook. This is what's going to happen here. This is what's happened actually on many other occasions when there have been other conflicts and conflagrations and moments or pinch points in the Palestinian-Israel history, which we as a family have often sat around this table and talked about with your dad for many years, certainly as long as I've been on the scene for the last 20 years. They've come up. There have been many other occasions, not as extreme as this, obviously, where there have been moments in the history of the region which hasn't even touched the mainstream media. So I guarantee you that what they're gaming on now, and this is how it works, and this isn't a criticism necessarily of the population en masse, because this is how it works. You're going about your day, you're doing your thing, you're not like us, locked into looking at this stuff to see how it's being covered, to try and kind of unpick it and kind of get round it and understand it. And you hear all of the leaders that you're kind of involved in this thing called democracy that kind of has put them all there. And you hear them kind of going, this is awful. This is goddamn awful. We need to change this. And what that says to you as you're going about your life is, I don't need to feel as bad about this now. It's kind of in hand.
Yeah.
Even
and
if
I didn't want to look at all the videos, and I didn't really want to know what was happening. And now I don't have to.
It's coming to an end, and they're saying the right things.
I was listening to Biden this morning. I don't know when he made this statement. Was this with the King of Jordan, when he was saying, we're working very hard to get calm in that region. Calm? Has he got any idea of the carnage that people are living in? But guess for how long? Not forever. 6 weeks. Meanwhile, Israeli settlers are not allowing any food trucks in. No mention of that from any of these leaders, is there?
No.
No damnation of that. No criticism, nothing. Yesterday, they were setting up disco tape desks and dancing whilst they stopped the food, the humanitarian supplies, food and medical supplies from coming in. And they're saying there's every chance there's going to be a full-on famine. And they were dancing. No criticism whatsoever from any leader on that. Disgusting. We're not going to forget, and we're not going to forgive.
Just sending you all the best, Freya. Obviously, it's a very tricky environment here to kind of deal with personal issues, but I can see you're getting lots of love from other members of the community. So that's
sending you a big hug.
Sending you a big hug. Look, Ellen says I actually might have thought it was all over if I didn't watch you guys and a few others.
Exactly.
I mean, and that's the way they want it to run. This is the plan. And I tell you, it's a plan. It's a plan. And
Annie Lennox, thank God, is somebody else that's saying something.
My line on this is: do not Let them. Now, this isn't about, wanting to, people are going to be like, oh my God, this is what gets me so mad. Right. What's going to kick in next is Boris's really clever little fucking stupid little line. If you were ever flagging up a criticism of Brexit, and let's not forget, I'm going on a slight diversion to come back. Let's not forget, when the Brexit vote came in, does anyone remember how depressed Johnson and Gove looked when they couldn't actually believe it had happened? Just remember that thought. So that, he pivots whichever way he wants. His line, if you were ever critical of anything, but maybe not even critical, but just expressing a concern, is Project Fear. Project Fear. You're down on us.
Just shut up.
You're being negative about us. Negative is really bad.
Yeah.
What's going to happen after this
but what that means is don't question us. Don't be negative means don't question.
I'm waiting for Biden, Rishi, Keir Starmer and Netanyahu to have a little kind of funky phrase like Project Fear, which is, don't cry over spilt milk. Or something like that. It's like, don't look back.
There's going to be something. There's going to be
forward.
A slogan to shut us up.
Every time politicians are now called to account, if they're starting to say, well, we've said, what's going to happen here is, I'll tell you exactly what's going to happen here. Netanyahu isn't going to launch the invasion of Rafah. He's going to claim he's responded. The West's going to claim they've controlled things.
Yeah.
They're going to say, we've solved it. We're going to hit a 6-week pause. It'll allow the press to lose interest.
And all the public.
All the public will lose that intensity of emotion. What they're looking for is to remove the pressure cooker scenario. I have to say, and in the same breath, unforgivable passive attitudes from the Arab nations. What the fuck's Egypt up to? I understand.
Well, and Palestinians will say, open the border, we're not going. We don't want to go and live in Egypt in a desert.
I'm not talking about them taking people.
We've got a carrier bag, we've got no money, haven't got our home. So it's not about taking people. But what is going on?
One thing I do think Egypt should allow is journalists who are requesting to get in. Where they have control of the one border that Israel doesn't have control, they should have allowed journalists to go in.
I read that from Jeremy Bowen today. I am so amazed.
Jeremy
Bowen, the BBC reporter, who is fantastic, amazing, incredible journalist. He's not allowed in. He said, I'm stuck in Jerusalem. We all want to be in Gaza. Everything we report has to go through the filter of Israel communications. So he said, with all of that in mind, this is my report telling us that basically he's completely But Egypt, God knows. Well, it's like my dad always says. Huge amounts of money.
Well, their economies are being controlled.
That comes from America. Because they have a lot of, property.
I tell you what it is. It's exactly like, does anyone remember
Dad says
watching...
you criticise America, that money is taken back, snatched back.
This is what America does with countries like Jordan and Egypt and, this is literally just transplant all of it to New York, Mean Streets, Scorsese movie. It's... What's it called when you get money from little businesses? You know the way the mobsters will come around and go, give us a bit of cash, otherwise we'll wreck your fucking store.
Oh, yeah, what's it called?
What's it called? There's a phrase
protection.
For it. Protection.
No, it's like that, yeah.
Yeah, a protection racket. This is it writ large. The Americans are going around. Basically, the reason you're seeing nothing from the Arab nations, and the only reason when you do hear something is because actually, like in Jordan, their population is just apoplectic with fury.
They're scared about how it's going to blow within the
racket. A sort of protection racket, exactly.
Yeah,
so is Egypt, even the North African countries. I don't know if you saw, even hashish sellers in Morocco have said they're not selling to Israeli dealers.
Think that was a very funny line.
But also there were huge protests in Morocco yesterday by them saying they want to sever all ties with Israel.
Exactly.
That's
the way to describe it.
It's just terrible. Anyway, so with all of this in mind, I did call it, there's nothing one can do about the drift of intensity. If the press doesn't cover it, and as Ellen just said a minute ago, if you feel like it's gone, it's going to go. For those people who are going to keep talking about it, the ICJ isn't going to go away. It's going to take years for them to come to a conclusion. But of course, by then, it's going to be hoped that, it's all faded and it's all kind of, it's all drifted away. No one's going to be interested in the stories about how do you get a strip of land which conservative estimates are saying it will take until 2092. Think about that, 2092, the edge of the 22nd century, to get the Gaza Strip back to where it was in 2022. That's the level of
But
demolition.
America will send billions upon billions. We will send loads of money as well. Israel will rebuild it, and Israelis will live in that area because that's what they wanted right from the beginning. They want that strip, they want that beach, they want all of that. They want the gas underneath that's already been sold to Europe. So it will be built. It will be built quicker than that. Bet you now. Bet you now.
Anyway, okay, so all of this
Let's
spills...
hope the tourist industry never flourishes again for them. That's what I hope.
Okay, so just quickly, obviously Starmer's got this...
Imagine going on holiday there, knowing all of that's under your feet.
Yeah, that would be quite hideous,
My
wouldn't
God.
it? Yeah.
My God.
Just, you know. Okay, and of course there's the story that Starmer has got this problem with this MP candidate that he can't get off the ballot now because they've printed the ballot papers. You know, he claimed that Israel knew about the, you know, it was a kind of almost, what was it called, a false flag type scenario is what he's claimed.
Netanyahu allowed it to happen.
Netanyahu allowed it to happen. I don't think you can make claims like that unless you have absolute hardwired proof. But on that, I do think a lot of us were asking questions, and I think more probing questions do need to be asked for the Israeli population of why Netanyahu didn't act on the information given by Egypt, and apparently the United States concurred with this information a day before the October the 7th attacks. So,
well, those questions can be continued to be answered, won't they? Well, hopefully. Yeah. But will continue to be investigated. But you're a politician. You can't just say shit like that without it, you know, without proof.
Okay.
So
okay, let's talk about being a girl's girl. We were going to get there yesterday. We got there today.
What does a girl's girl? What do you think of a girl's? Because there isn't a man's man, is there? Oh, yes, there is.
Yeah, wingman. Wingman, I think is probably.
Oh, wingman.
It's probably that.
What does wingman mean?
Well, a wingman is someone who's looking out for your best intentions and your
whilst
your
you're
welfare.
Looking for a girl.
Well, also for me, I always think wingman is you're my wingman. I mean, it's used in the most horrible frat boy kind of way, isn't
where
it?
does it come from?
You know, if I want to, I think in a most sinister fashion, wingman can mean, oh, well, so I'm trying to get a girlfriend. My wingman will do all the working and the sort of, socialising to try and make it work for me. It's a bit predatory, I think. When I think of a wingman, if I ever use the phrase, it's like you keep an eye on the things that I might miss as I'm doing other things, and you'll...
That's what I thought, Lou. Yeah. Isn't wingman when you go on the pool?
Well, no, but it's used in that way, but it's interesting. I mean, I've used it in a sort of professional capacity where I say, can you be my wingman here? Which is basically pick up all the bits that I'm missing. Yeah, my second set of eyes. Okay. But a girl's girl, I think it means I think what it means is, and what I fear it can become is, what I think it means is looking out for women, come what may. You will put women first. There's a code that you just won't cross for your female friends, partners, whatever. But where I think it gets wrong is it's also an opportunity to create a really mean girl clique.
Well, girls, apparently the beginning of it all was the Angelina Jolie, Jennifer Aniston thing, where you team Jennifer or team Angelina.
Oh, right.
You know, no mention of what Brad's part had been in the whole messy thing, but it was like you were either one or the other. And, if you backed Jennifer Aniston, you were backing girls. You were against the guy who'd done her wrong. Angelina was the evil one, and that was very much, that's where it all started.
So who was a girl's girl in that?
Well, girl's girl would have been anyone that was team Jennifer.
Right.
Yeah.
But it seems
because she it was 100% supporting the woman. She's been wronged, and you're in there. Just here it says in this article, broadly speaking, the phrase girls refers to being a woman who is perceived as being authentic, genuine, and who prioritizes her female friendships rather than competing for the attention of men, which is the complete opposite of this new phraseology that Benny was, which is a pick-me girl, and a pick-me girl is that you want all the boys to fancy you in the broadest of terms. You want all the boys to fancy you, and you'll do anything for the male attention, the male gaze upon you.
Right.
And it's weird. It was strange this article turned up because I only really thought... I mean, I call myself a woman's woman, and I think there is a difference between a woman's woman and a girl's girl.
Is
I really do, yeah.
Is it age?
I just think the connotations are very different. Anyway, I've always thought, girl's girl, that's fine. That's the younger version of woman's woman. But actually, watching Love Island, this series, I think every time I say, I'm a girl's girl, it feels really weaponized. It feels really controlling. It also feels like, in another way, that it can be very...
Jacqueline Clement sounds bloody toxic to me.
Yeah, like it
I
really...
agree.
Like there's a young girl in there who I absolutely adore. I think she's fantastic. She's the girl that took that revolting creature bear to court for videoing her without her knowing and then selling.
Yes.
And she's very, very smart. We had her on Loose Women, liked her enormously. And she was wanting to change the way that she chose boys, right? So she goes in, there's this gorgeous, lovely Scottish guy who treats her like an absolute queen. She gets the ick, goes off him, and then goes for the worst, manipulative, lying, horrible guy in there. And as I said to the girls, wow, if there is somebody that is likely, in my opinion, to video you having sex and send it to all his friends, it's this one. And it was just so weird the way she was pulled back to this guy. But she has this conversation with the girls, Kaz, actually, who's a gorgeous, lovely person. I really like her. And it goes into this girls thing, which is completely all right. Whatever you want to do is what you should do. And, you know, you've got to trust your instinct. And if your gut is saying go to him, go to him. And it's like, everyone should be, if that's what a girl's girl is, which is just kind of like, you know, there's that part of it which is just agreeing with everything and just going, yes, you're the... Well, you should be going, for God's sake, don't go anywhere near him. That's one part of it that isn't so toxic.
You see, that's what I would see from my understanding, or how I've interpreted being a wingman, for example, is that in that instance, I would expect a good wingman, if I was single again and all that kind of stuff, to be someone who would counsel me in that situation rather than just confirm everything I was saying and feeling. Yeah. Whereas I do worry that
so it's a bit cupcake and prosecco.
Yeah.
It's a bit like it's a bit like
cod's cupcake and prosecco.
Well, it's just cupcakes. But it's kind of cod psychology. You go with your gut, whatever feels right for you. I mean, I'm not just talking about Love Island, of course. I'm just.
The Country Pumpkin says, I don't like the drama of hanging out with women.
Now, so right, okay, well that's another,
It's interesting.
So there's a darker side to the girls label, and it's focused on an insidious form of judgment rather than wholesome sisterhood. The term has been used to refer to behaviour that is perceived as involving a woman being supportive of other women and typically girly things. But that said, this is far from being a feminist expression. And they go on to say that actually, and I asked one of our daughters about this, and she really agreed with it. She says, it can become very controlling, just like boys' code can. You know, it's like it can just be shifted around. Oh, you're not a girl's girl. You should be doing this. You should be doing that. And in that way, it becomes like, what's it they call it here? Girlfriend gaze, a form of woman-to-woman surveillance, which is framed in friendly, warm tones, but which is critical of behaviours that contravene how a woman/girl should behave according to this form of social contract. It's a monitoring gaze that compels you to reproduce femininity in certain kinds of ways or bear the consequences. And there's a woman that in this article who talks about, she says, I grew up with 4 brothers. I work in a totally male environment. I get on better with men. I just do, because that's been my experience. She said, but I am so looked down upon by other women. And I really hate that. I think that's really, really wrong. Like one of our daughters is so, I think she has such a great relationship with you. She's so easy with boys and men. She can talk to them. And I look at her, because I was never like that. I was never like that. Like, boys were just somebody that you were trying to pull or they weren't, you know. And girls that always were with the boys, as far as I was concerned, it's like, why are they always with the boys? I was suspicious of it because I didn't understand.
Yeah, just a couple of comments here. Anne-Marie Lucker, bro code is the phrase that's been used a lot on Love Island for men. Yeah, absolutely right.
But Maddie was saying it's very similar.
Hi, Kristen.
Girls girl can be very similar.
Well,
it's bro code, and it's constantly moving the what's it called, the gateposts. No,
but presumably the girls girl code is only sort of good for girls if that girls girl code isn't flecked through already with toxic masculinity. I think one of the big things that one realises looking at a lot of this stuff is how much toxic masculinity women are carrying, women have inherited, or by osmosis, propping it up.
Yeah.
And so consequently, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a good thing. I mean, I think the essence of the idea is a great one. It's like girls looking out for girls, like the essence of the idea of a wingman being someone who kind of looks out for your vulnerable moments elsewhere, not in that, as you rightly say, Lee, not in that sort of slightly predatory fashion, which unfortunately it does have that connotation, wingman. But my thing about girls girl is I find it as sort of one of these really fucking annoying kind of phrases that justifies cliquey grouping and cliquey judgments. And if you're not a girl's girl, who's the decider of who's not a girl's girl in
well,
this
there's
group
another
of
woman that contributes to this, and she says, she doesn't feel like she's attractive enough to be a girls. If it's like the archetypes of girls tend to be heterosexual, conventionally very attractive, and yet not interested in male attention. Well, that will be put on, won't it? Because every young person is interested in whatever sex they fancy's attention. So that's not true. So it's an artifice, really. But
let me read some of these out.
Ellie
Denning, I feel so much more comfortable in a friendship with boys. All my remaining schoolmates are male. I feel no judgment and I'm at ease. I love women, but I can't connect as easily. Interestingly, Nessie Jeff, I used to get bullied at school because most of my friends were boys. When I left school, I joined a motorbike club, so things never changed. Men are a better laugh. Interesting. Creatorholic, I feel the same. Sick of the wording and pigeonholing and shifting meanings. Oh, that's in response to Erin, who says, why do we need names for being decent human beings' friends? It's so exhausting. Just be good people.
Because we always, aren't we? I didn't realise it was only 20 years ago that this came back. Everybody's always wanting to label people, and I think even more so with women. We had Boris Johnson, sister, on Loose Women the other day, and she does this podcast, Difficult Women. And it was interesting.
Doff your cap, sir. Doff your cap.
It was interesting because I said, because women never want to say that they're difficult. They won't admit that they're difficult. And being a difficult woman is an absolute slur, right? But I am now proud of the part of me that is a difficult woman, because it's a part of me. And we grow up as, even when I think back to when I was a kid, and it'd come in and there'd be guests and I'd go, oh, I don't really like that so-and-so. My dad would go, come, just smile, just be nice, just be nice. And that goes in and that goes in. That we're told that all the time as women, that we're supposed to be nice and be quiet and not shout and not swear and not be difficult. And so every time, I can be a very difficult person because I'm strong-minded, I'm opinionated, I'm bossy, I'm all these things. But I spent so much of my life feeling ashamed of that. I couldn't stop it, I couldn't help it, because that's part of my character. But I no longer feel ashamed, and because I no longer feel ashamed and I accept it, I'm able now, in these years in my life, to look at it better and realise where I am wrong and I am too much, and to pull back. I don't want to lose it. I like the part of me that is difficult is the part that's got me through the shit.
Vicky Waiting says, but
try to not be ashamed of being your difficult part.
Yeah, Vicky Waiting says, but what is a difficult woman? A woman who stands up for herself and doesn't just roll over.
Well, yes, it is as simple as that.
Yeah, characterised as difficult.
But she was saying about a podcast, she has people in there that are very strong, known for, and yet they still recoil at being called difficult. And I think it's because if we ever say anything about ourselves as women, that's a label. Okay, so you're just that. You're just difficult. You're just a girly's girl. You're a woman's woman. Oh, I thought you were a woman's woman. I saw you taking the side of that man over there. We just want to just break the bloody walls down. Just let us just be.
Well, it's a nice segue now, moving from difficult women into Olivia Colman, who's promoting a new film.
So looking forward to this.
Looking forward to this. We were going to go to I think there was a premiere last night. But mental health was more priority. Women using swear words, says Olivia Colman, should not be shocking. She says there's a double standard that exists when it comes to bad language. This is a film which I think looks sensational. It's called Wicked Little Letters, British movie. It stars her and it stars Jessie Buckley. And it's,
wait.
I think it's
Looks
based on a
so
true
good.
story, the case of the Littlehampton libels, when incredibly explicit rude letters in the 1920s were being sent within a village, and people kind of thought it was this new woman and who was sending them and all this kind of stuff. But the language in...
We reacted
trailer.
to the trailer, so check
Where
it out
are we now?
on here.
I'll pop the link there so you can just click on it easily now. So
Yeah.
it's just up there somewhere.
Because I think you'll like it too.
30, can you make a note of 34 minutes?
34 minutes.
And it does look sensational. I mean, there's all sorts of awful words said. And I just wanted to ask the question, maybe it's the women I fraternise with. I don't think there's any judgment made or double standard in our lives around the women who swear.
Yeah, but you are a feminist. You don't think of it in terms of a
No, but
woman
I'm not
swearing.
shocked by a woman swearing.
No, because you don't. You listen.
I've only ever heard my mother swear from a young age.
I just think some people, when they swear, it's horrible, right? Men or women, and some people, it's colour to their language and the way that they use it. For instance, Denise Welsh, fabulous swearer. I do find actors swear better. I know that might seem like a weird thing to say.
Because they relish the words.
Yeah.
Don't they?
Lisa, my friend Lisa, we love the way she swears.
She's not
In
an
fact,
actress.
nearly all her Christmas presents have something to do with swearing. No. So I'm just saying, but she swears, and it's just fantastic.
Forsooth thy eyes of sexy.
Now it's weird because I don't like it when Dina swears.
Oh, I do.
Oh, I don't.
On-
It's really weird, and
within,
I don't know.
Within reason.
No, but I was thinking about this morning. I wonder if it's because we grew up with strictly no swearing when we were kids. Even though my mum swears like a trooper now.
I like you hate me swearing. I love swearing. I don't like to.
No,
think
you
that. The girls
overdo it.
love me swearing.
I don't like it.
Yeah, I know. It's really
It's
annoying.
weird. I don't like you swearing. It's true.
Yeah.
I think it's because I always think of you as so articulate, and you have the most vast vocabulary. So when you use it, I don't know. It just feels wrong.
Oh, fuck off.
What about when I swear?
I think I don't actually have a kind of that's why I think it's weird that you say, "Oh, I don't like it when you swear." I think there are great moments for swearing. Yeah, you can swear a bit too much, and in that moment it's too much.
I think
it all depends on the circumstances. It all depends on the situation. There are moments where it's a little bit crude, or it's a cheap reach for a word when perhaps there could be a cleverer put down or something. I mean, I'm never standing there thinking, oh, I wonder what swear word I'll use right now. I mean, it just comes out. And sometimes, I mean, for example, check out my Instagram post. I love that Nick Cage documentary about swearing, or series about swearing. There are times where you just feel like you want to swear from the rafters. But I don't know.
But where does it come from? Because I'm trying to
Do any of
really
you feel
interrogate
there's
myself
double standards?
when you hear, oh, I don't like it when a woman swears. Now,
that's a good point.
is
Just
that-
quickly, Sherry D says, I swear for emphasis. So do I. Never at someone.
Yes, that's a really good distinction. Good distinction. I like that.
Yeah, like you fuckhead. I mean, that's hard, isn't it?
I
If you call
don't
someone-
like it.
Yeah, you fuck.
No, stop now, because I don't like it when you do it.
Yeah, dick splash. You know.
God.
No, I'm just. I'm
Right,
just,
you're not going to stop now,
No, I
are
have
you?
stopped. I've stopped now. I've stopped. No, I have stopped. But you love a good swear. You relish sweering.
I don't. I really want to try and swear less.
I don't want.
I
to
do
swear
make
less.
a conscious effort to try and swear less than I did. Than I do. And now because I'm in factual programming, the swearing is much less than it is in acting. So, people just don't swear as much at all.
Minky Moo, I like.
I suppose it's because you're in a daytime going live situation. So you just try not to, because if you were to swear like
You've been
that on telly.
daytimeified.
Yeah.
Minky Moo, I like the non-offensive swear words the most, though. They're funny. I like poxy or toe rag. Toe rag's good, isn't it? Things that are a bit. That's a bit. Morning, Claire. Oh, Claire Ross Reed, how are you? Haven't seen you in a
Hi.
while. I hope
Yeah,
you're well.
well.
Dick Splash, that's a good one. Jola81, very good. I don't know. The girls, I love making the girls laugh with the strange collision and fusion of different words. But I have to say, I can't see what Olivia Colman's saying. I don't find a gender distinction.
But there is.
Is there?
Oh, I don't like a woman that swears. Yeah, there's loads of
what
that.
kind of an
course
arsehole
you're not-
says that?
Of course. Well, I don't know that it's an arsehole. I think you've got to understand that some people just do
swearing.
see women in a way that they are, it's not. I mean, of course it is sexist. But I do think, if you've been brought up a certain way, and, maybe the woman in your life, the mum in your life was a safe place where there wasn't like aggression, or you can understand it. Like, say like you work in a really like boisterous swearing all the time, or you had a dad that swore a lot and it was aggressive. I'm just trying to put myself in the place. And then your mum never did.
Yeah.
Does it come from some old worldy sort of, you know? I mean, I think there are different grades of sexism. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, I've always heard
I think it
from
could
a young
be rooted in something like that.
I just heard swearing from a young age from lots of, I mean, principally from my mum's side, and obviously at my nan and granddad's, there was never swearing there. Erin makes a really important point, and I saw a report about this the other day saying creative swearing is a sign of a large vocabulary. There's been studies looking at swearing and general language skills, and there's a correlation between people who swear a lot and having a larger vocabulary. And in fact, I've heard that if you use swearing or you relish swearing or you kind of engage in it an awful lot, it can actually be a sign of great intellect.
Wow.
Yeah.
So should I stop trying not to swear so much then?
Well, you should stop trying to stop me from swearing. Yeah, absolutely. I think we should swear.
I don't mind you swearing, but what you tend to do is you swear, then the girls laugh, and then you swear and swear and swear and swear to show off.
Well,
I know exactly what you were like in the playground. Any girl would give you any attention, you would just keep doing the same.
Kettle black. Flash your knickers. Get a response. Flash your knickers again. You don't understand the idea of doing the same thing again for a crowd.
That's really interesting, though, Erin. Thanks for that. Oh, I just still don't understand why.
Why?
If you've got a vast vocabulary.
It shows you don't have a hierarchical, snobby attitude to language. You are at ease using the language of slumminess, and you're at ease using the language.
You just said the language of slumminess, so
yeah,
that is.
But there's no. You can
Not
roll
just
with the
no, because
punches.
you started off by saying it's just language, and then you went using the language of slumminess.
Yes, slummy language is great. Relish it. It's all up for grabs. It's all out there. It's a rich lexicon
I'm
of
just running
opportunities.
through all the people I know in my head, and it's really interesting. And I'm thinking, oh no, I don't like it when they swear. Oh no, I like it when they
I
swear.
think you don't like swearing.
It's really weird. No, it's just some people. I wonder why that is. I'm going to really think about it.
Okay, final story then on women behaving badly. This is just a story, not a lot to say about this other than what she said. Well, woman who slept... It's a curious two parts to this headline. Woman who slept with 300 men in 2023 has said that she's upping the ante for 2024. And when this was published, which was last week on the 9th of February, she'd slept with 71 people in 2024. Now, she's 26, she's a model, she's on OnlyFans, she's not afraid to spill the details of her active sex life. She's got 90,500 Instagram followers, and her name's Annie K. Knight.
Well, what I would say is...
What's going on here?
What I would say is now, after doing this, she's going to have a lot more than 90,000 Instagram followers, isn't she?
Oh, it's all about that.
And I just think, I'm sorry, it just repulses me in an equal way that it would if a man was saying this. Isn't about her being a woman.
Yes, no, absolutely.
On one part of me. And then another part. What was my first reaction when you told me this story?
I can't remember, if I'm honest.
My first response was totally from a mum's sort of like, you know, where I said to oh my God, what's wrong with her? It's like, one of our daughters was here and she felt exactly, so it's like, oh God, what's wrong with her? Because for me, that is addictive, destructive behaviour, if it's true.
If it's true.
If it's not just a PR thing to go from 90,000 Instagram followers to 1 million, but also the other part of me was like, that's just so dangerous.
Okay, can I
to talk about yourself in that way and put yourself out there in that way. I just am gobsmacked by, you know, this is the worst side of social media. That's what I'd say.
There are two things that creep into me when I hear this kind of thing. Does anyone else engage in these two things? So when I saw this story and the parental aspect crept in because you sort of think...
the human aspect.
Well, the human aspect.
Yeah,
you sort of think this is something so intimate that there must be a real dislocation between
herself,
allowing yourself to... And it's not to say she's totally allowed to be in control. It's not about, you know, judging, as you say. It's not because she's a woman or a man. I mean, it's shocking. I think it's more shocking when you hear it from a woman. I think, you know, but I think if I read it of a man, I would just think, what a horrible man.
I'd love to hear what a psychotherapist says, because neither of us are psychotherapists.
No, but when I look, but what I ended up doing, I don't know if anyone else does this, was I did this really weird thing where I didn't go and look at a photo and zoom in on anything other than I zoomed in on her face, and I wanted to look at her eyes because I wanted to see where the emotional, what the emotion was in her eye, and of course, I went through every photo, and her eyes had a similar blank expression, and which spoke to me of a real sort of emotional dislocation, if it's true.
But also
Eyes like a shark, Edward Bevington.
But also, I did, read the whole article, and she said, and this is what we've got to take into consideration. Sorry, somebody just asking me. She asked, somebody just asked me about this. I'll tell you in a minute. She says in the article, I love sex.
That's
and
fine.
I love, having a different person every day. So the question for me is, can that really be so without it being?
You're asking the same thing.
maybe
Me
I'm
too, just
being
saying
really-
what you're thinking.
Yeah.
Interesting topic. Is it possible for someone to do that and still be in total control of their emotions and mental state?
And actually just really enjoy it. Because maybe she's just a rare being.
God, exhausting.
And that maybe, and maybe that really is something that she loves. She's not in any way, she's had no bad experience that's led her to this. Maybe she's just totally of sound mind and body, and this is what she loves to do. And if that is the case, 100%, everybody has the right to do whatever they want if you're not hurting anyone else.
I wonder how she goes about it. I mean,
but I just
71 already by the 9th of February, and she's taken lots of kind of selfies. You sort of think, bloody hell, so as soon as she's taking that, she's off and she's doing it again. Christos, I believe this is a doubling down on self-marketing. Yeah, I mean, why would someone boast about such behaviour? It sounds like a possible case of a trauma. Yeah, it's either sex addiction. It's just weird. I just find it weird. It's a sort of, I don't know, but like you say...
But maybe because it's just against the majority, it's the minority, and that's why do we look at stories like this? Because I always find it really interesting when I go straight away to instinct, and then I have to, because I'm always trying to be less judgy than I was first half of my life, and just go, well, actually, maybe there are some people that maybe there's way more people than we think of that like
DP's
that
worked
life.
it out nearly twice a day. 71 by the 9th of Feb.
I don't know. It doesn't feel right.
Anyway.
But anyway.
There we go. That was a curious...
lots of people ask me about this, and I'm glad you have, because...
Yeah, flag up the dilemma.
Yeah, so this is actually made in Palestine, and this is from the Palestinian Solidarity UK. So if you find them on Instagram, follow them on Instagram. They were the ones that organised the last minute
and they are
march
called...
outside. Kefir. And please don't buy these on Amazon. Because I saw a TikTok video of a group of young, very wealthy Israelis laughing their heads off because they have an account on Amazon where they're selling fake ones of these. And they were talking and laughing about how the money that they get pays for them to go surfing or whatever it was. So this isn't cultural appropriation if you wear this. I've looked into this and it is not. As long as it is worn with the feeling, the feeling of solidarity and with the respect. So it's not cultural appropriation. Do you know what?
It is not.
I feel quite silly. I was talking to my mum and dad the other day, and I was like, so actually how far are you from the West Bank? And my mum said, 10 minutes away.
Yeah, they're close. Now,
They're 10 minutes away. Jordan is only 100 years old. I mean, when I was growing up, my dads and cousins and things all wore these. And then it became like a really arty thing, didn't it? Art students.
I mean, it's funny,
these.
isn't it? And also, it's again talking of cultural appropriation and when this kind of stuff is permissible. Lawrence of Arabia, it's what made Peter O'Toole so mystical and wonderful, was him wearing the keffiyeh and isn't it interesting that I felt protective of you going out yesterday for fear that someone will automatically just call you a hate march or a terrorist or something like that.
I mean, it is actually quite brave of me to wear it.
It really is.
Because you know that people recognise me when I go out.
But
I just felt, do you know what? I just felt, and it was really interesting when you said to me, what are you going to do? And I said, I will have the argument. Because a little part of me, though I do get anxious about it, and I was going to wear it to work the other day and I didn't. I felt anxious and took it off. And then I was like, imagine actually being Palestinian. and how scary that is. So it was just like that. So my heart is in it when I wear this. It's like I want to just say that I'm with you in whatever tiny way I can be, kind of.
Just quickly, are Teddy and Betty safe? They are safe, but I do want to share
I
a little...
don't like them being there, I have to say.
But also I want to share a little detail with you. Betty, we briefly spoke with her. I'm not going to sort of to talk about the content specifically, but great sadness.
Yeah.
Because she and they are witnessing in extremis and in close-up something else that's happening alongside the entire catastrophe of Gaza that the world has allowed to happen. And we must keep saying that when these arseholes decide to do the tiniest of little kind of handbrake turns and go, oh, well,
we're supposed to be grateful.
Go fuck yourselves. We've been saying it from the fucking get-go, you fucking bunch of
Mark,
rancid fucking
now
idiots.
that's too many.
No, it's not.
It's too many in a row.
I don't care. Just, at the end of the day, do one. As they say, do one.
So
we have to keep calling it
Palestinian
out.
Solidarity UK, they're on Instagram.
But my point is that on a much more fundamental level, they are well physically but not emotionally, because what they're also seeing is something very different happening in the West Bank. And the West Bank is, in many ways, a much more, not nuanced in terms of, but the violence, the aggression, the illegality there, which, even led to Biden telling off 4 people. That hotspot could well be the other thing that could literally ignite within seconds.
I mean, people will often say to us, please, we know you're talking about Gaza, but don't forget us in the West Bank, because whilst everyone, whilst we are looking at Gaza, people are being thrown out of their homes in West Bank. And honestly, I was shocked my mum's 10 minutes away. I was like, bloody hell, she's nearer than Croydon.
So there's a sadness. There's a deep sadness, and it's interesting not coming out because we're not going to come out. But as we've been in this kind of sort of this trauma of this war, you really do get to this point. You sort of think, well, at least we really do now know those people who have or feel a sense of humanity, because if you can still be ragingly justifying this assault, this atrocity, with the world pushing back, populations of the world pushing back, even if not all the governments of the world have pushed back. If you can still be standing there, still chiming out the same justification for this, then you are devoid of humanity. I'm sorry, devoid of humanity. And we say that from a position of, yes, we want the hostages, but also we want to stop killing innocent
Netanyahu
Palestinians.
didn't give a damn about the hostages. I'm sorry. If I was Israeli, I would be absolutely incandescent with how little he cared, because he's been bombing them too. Anyway, enough is enough. Listen, we love you lots, and
jelly
check
tots.
out yesterday we posted a really nice video of fluffy American pancakes. They were delish. And don't forget Mark's live at 6 o'clock on Instagram tonight. Should be fun. And what was the other thing? 8 o'clock I'm live on Instagram. Getting some results of a test that I had. I'm a bit nervous. But anyway, I'm going to be getting the results live. So join me on Instagram at 8 o'clock.
Lots of love, guys, on my Instagram page, YouTube. So have a lovely day and stay safe.